Welcome to the Age Guide podcast, Perspectives on the Aging Journey. I'm your host, Gretchen Knowlton, and today we have a guest whose work is deeply personal to me. Dana Griffin is the co-founder and CEO of Eldera, a groundbreaking global platform connecting older and younger generations through meaningful conversations and wisdom sharing. Eldera operates on the profound belief that older adults are an untapped resource uniquely equipped to address societal challenges and nurture the next generation. Eldera has been recognized as a social prescription by the Cleveland Clinic and as a case study for using AI to reconnect generations by the UN's AI for Good. It has also been featured by MSNBC, USA Today, The Atlantic, The Wall Street Journal, The Washington Post, and CNN. Also named Eldera as one of their 2023 Good News of the Year. Before founding Eldera, Dana was a successful data and advertising executive recognized by Ad Age as one of their 40 under 40 for transforming the advertising industry. Dana's work has been showcased by Columbia University, Harvard Business School, and Stanford Center for Aging, and quoted in best-selling books on healthy aging. Outside of her professional life, Dana speaks 6 languages, enjoys reading utopian sci-fi, Vedic meditation, and exploring diverse wisdom traditions and cultures. Dana, welcome to the podcast. It's such an honor to have you here today.
Oh, the honor is all mine. Thank you so much for having me, Gretchen.
Oh, you are so welcome. It is our privilege. And I want to share with listeners on a personal note that my own daughter participates in Eldera. And through her connection, I've had the pleasure of witnessing the magic of these intergenerational bonds firsthand through this connection. And I've gotten to know Dana, and I hope I'm not alone in thinking that we've become friends ourselves, which really speaks to the warmth and authenticity that you bring to this incredible mission, Dana.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for the kind words. You're going to make me cry. Every other relationship, like your daughter's, is completely unique, and the magic is actually between the two people that connect. All we do at Eldera is create the platform and the safety and the resources to make that connection happen. But the magic comes from the people, and it always will.
That's true. That's true. But I feel like even that little bit of magic has a broader effect and it spreads. So, like as a parent, I have a relationship with my daughter's mentor now too, and I've gotten to know you and other amazing people at Eldera. So it spreads and it continues. And my daughter tells other people about her mentor, and then they sign up for Eldera. So it's really a neat cycle of connection.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's the hope. That's the hope. And thank you for saying that. We love hearing that. We've been building Eldera for 4.5 years, but we feel like it's just day one every day. So we're excited to hear about every single story and every life that we touch and every family that we touch with Eldera.
Perfect. And we're excited to have you share with our listeners today. And just this chance to be able to sit down with you and ask you some questions. I have so many things I want to ask you. But first, I'm going to ask you a question that I learned from you because you said that you like to ask people what their superpower is because everybody brings unique gifts to the world, right? So I'm going to ask you, Dana, what is your superhero? What is your superpower?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love that question. As you know, it's built into every facet of Eldera. So I'd say my very obvious superpower is that I'm good at building relationships. And that's actually built in fundamentally at Eldera because we match and connect people um, for weekly virtual conversations. And that matching is honestly initially based on my experience. I was hand matching everyone initially, and I still approve every final match,
Oh, do
which is
you? I didn't know
exciting.
that.
Yeah, it's very exciting. My team is not that excited about it. They're implementing all the algorithms to pull me out of the product. But one of because it is my superpower, it's also one of my favorite things to do.
And you're good
So
at it.
for asking, thank you, thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Well,
the super
Eldera is such a unique platform, and it focuses on that connection, like you said, between older adults and younger generations. What was the inspiration behind this idea? Can you start by telling us how you came to be involved in this?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll just tell you that I never expected to be a founder, and that was not the goal. I was raised in Transylvania and Romania, and I was raised by my grandparents. And I continued to surround myself with older adults my entire life. To this day, at least a third of my friends are between 60s and 90s. And I know who to go to for advice from anything from investment to healthcare to recipes and to dating. And and I came to the United States for university, and I ended up staying because I fell in love with this country. And I ended up pursuing a career in advertising and data, as you mentioned earlier. And I thought that was the trajectory that I was on until my closest mentor, elder mother figure in New York, Linda, ended up being diagnosed with brain cancer and passing away.
Oh,
And when that happened, I was completely struck by grief. There's no going around it.
right.
And I just wanted to do something that celebrated her memory. And she was instrumental in my life, as have been several amazing older adults throughout my life. She changed the trajectory of my life. So I figured, what if every kid could have a Linda, like I had my Linda, and you have your Patty? Um, so that was the impetus for starting Eldera. And initially it was an idea, and people started hearing about it and joining the mission, and we started building it together. So now we're 4.5 years in. We have mentors, like Linda was for me and Patty is for you today, in all 50 states. All of our mentors are background checked, but kids sign up from all over the world, and their parents sign them up from all over the world. And our two biggest countries are the US and South Korea. If you had told me this when I started Eldera in 2020, I would have been blown away. I never ever expected this to happen.
It's really taken off, and you have exciting plans for the future too. The thing I love most about Eldera is how it values the contributions of both the young mentees and the older adult mentors. Can you share a bit more about how your platform works?
Sure. So we believe that everyone has something to contribute, and something to teach, and also something to learn. So the way our platform works is our core service, if you want, is one-on-one intergenerational connection. It's the mentoring component where mentors and parents and kids sign up, and we use their profiles to match them for weekly virtual conversations. And some of these conversations, as you know, have been going on for over 4 years every week. They use video to talk weekly, and they form a bond. The kids actually call it the bond. We didn't come up with it. And it's just incredible to see. What's underlying the one-on-one mentoring is an entire community of older adults with a purpose. And mentors support each other in being better mentors, and they support me and the team in building Eldera better. And just going back to Patty, who we love, Patty is retired, and she spends her days at home. So she came up with the idea of creating socials for the other mentors so that nobody ever has to feel alone, even in between talking to the kids. So now she started also a book club, which is her first book club ever that she runs. And mentors love it so much. And older adults love it so much that we're actually um, expanding the product so that people can sign up just to be part of the social network of older adults with a purpose and be able to collaborate, learn, and teach from other older adults as they get ready and comfortable mentoring a young person.
So they don't have to sign up initially as a mentor. They might not be ready. They might be a little scared. They want to learn more information. They can join this amazing group around the country, getting together virtually, and they can build some social connections. Fabulous.
Exactly. And frankly, one of the coolest things we've learned is that older adults who met at Eldera struck up friendships. And now some of them created walking groups in their communities,
To get together
which
in
is
person?
so cool. Yes, they get together in person. And we're so excited about this because, as I mentioned before, we background check older adults initially to keep the kids safe.
Mhm.
But now what we realize is that the older adults are safe together because they know everyone at Eldera's background checked. So if they decide to go for a coffee walk with someone, they know that person went through the exact same level of vetting that they have, and they're safe together.
They can feel
Which
really safe to meet up with a stranger, so to speak, and do something
exactly,
fun together. Nice.
exactly, which you know better than anyone is one of the key things to being able to age in place.
Yes. Those social connections,
That
so critical. Yes.
that's
And that intergenerational social connection is extremely special and powerful. And that is a big part of your mentorship concept, right? So can you share some maybe success stories or impactful moments that you've seen on this platform where the older adults have really made a difference in the lives of the younger generation? I'd love to hear your stories.
I have so many stories of this, but I'll start with the most recent one, which was so wonderful and unexpected. Um, we were just approached by the Boston Globe to write a story about Eldera, which we love, and said yes to immediately. And they asked us to interview some mentors and mentees. And one of the mentees, she's 12 years old. And she told a reporter on Zoom that her mentor is her secret weapon,
Oh,
that she is winning at school and at life because of her mentor, and that I quote, it almost feels like cheating because other kids don't have a Kathleen.
that's so amazing. Love it.
Game over. I
Yes.
I cannot put it any better.
A
But
great spokesperson for Eldera.
I know this is a really cool thing. I'm so grateful to be invited and so honored. But I'm actually not qualified to use Eldera. I am not over 60 or under 18. So our mentors and our mentees and our parents like you are in fact better spokespeople for what we do because they're the ones who benefit directly from Eldera.
Right. And I'm sure they have tons of stories. And we are going to do a little bit of interviewing my daughter and her mentor, Patty, later on. So folks will be able to hear like how that relationship works and what these sessions are like for the kids and the mentors. So you're right. They do a great job of speaking for Eldera. They have such a great experience and they want to share it with the world.
Exactly. I'm so excited about it. You know, another story that comes to mind, two quick ones. One of our mentors, actually in the Chicago area, we paired him up with an 11-year-old boy. And the mentor has a long and illustrious career in public health. And he said, hey, you seem to be really good at math. You seem to be really special about it. You should write a book. I will help you.
Wow.
And they did. They
They
did.
wrote a book together?
They wrote a book. The kid wrote the book about math. The
Wow.
mentor wrote the foreword. They published it. It's for sale on Amazon. It's called Beautiful Theorems That Changed Math
Wow.
by an 11-year-old. Here's the kicker. They decided to give all the proceeds to the American Pediatric Cancer Society. And they're already working on something new. So I want you to take a moment and think about this is what we call the magic.
Yes.
Not scripted. In fact, we are the only platform that has no curriculum because we truly believe that older adults are the last generation who still know how to build true human connection and
Hmm.
how to see what's special in another person.
Why do you think that is?
I think because several reasons. One, they grew up without mobile phones and without the internet.
True. Yes.
They did, and they, for better or worse, they had to build relationships, not just with family and school, but peers and communities early on.
Hmm.
There's something else that we talk about a lot at Eldera, is that older adults, and even our generation, Gretchen, we grew up with the idea of go out there and change the world. See what you can do, be brave.
Make a difference. Yep.
The difference, right? Well, young people today uh, went through COVID. Social media is really, really plaguing them. There's so
Hmm.
much research on how it's bad for them. And they're dealing with a lot of existential crisis. So
Yes.
while we were told to go out there and change the world, they are told to go out there and save the world.
Oh, interesting. Yes. There's a real distinction there.
It's a very
That's a
big distinction,
lot of pressure.
so much pressure.
And it
And
implies that things are broken and it's their job to fix it, which is a
yes,
lot.
which is a lot. And they feel alone.
Hmm.
They are actually the loneliest generation. You and I are in the aging field, and we are told that older adults are lonely. And they are. One in
Hmm.
three older adults are lonely. And that's bad. But
Right.
what's actually worse is that 71% of teenagers feel lonely.
Wow. 71%. That's almost
1%.
all of them.
It's almost all of them. And when they do, they don't yet have the coping mechanisms to deal with it.
Right. They're still young and their brains are still developing.
They're young, so they're
They
going
need some help.
to social media. Exactly. They go to social media, they go to chatbots. That's exacerbating their loneliness, which is then leading them to a mental health crisis.
Hmm.
So they fundamentally need to talk to a human.
They do. Yes.
And I think you and I talked about this before, but there's research from the Harvard Center for Childhood Development that shows that when kids form trusted one-on-one relationships with non-parental adults, it helps them build resilience. And resilience is really a key to thriving. So, that's the research.
That,
But the truth is, this is what we've seen at Eldera for
yes.
4.5 years now.
Those
Yeah.
intergenerational relationships are so beautiful. Did you
They're
have
so
one more
beautiful.
story you wanted to share? You said three. I might have interrupted you.
Oh, yes, I do have one more story. This is so cute. We have a mentor in Florida, and her mentee was a teenager, a high schooler, going into her senior year and trying to get her first job. And she had a really hard time getting her first job, and she was beating herself up for it. So the mentor came up with this strategy that every morning she had to do affirmations in the mirror. I am smart, I am worthy, I'm hardworking, all the things. And the mentee told us that initially she thought it was really silly.
She didn't want to do it. Yeah, it's not cool.
But the mentor told her, so she's like, yeah, what's the harm? So she did it for a week, then she got a job after trying for 2 months. And listen, I'm sure there were many factors that came into play, but the mentee says that it was because she listened to her mentor and she did the affirmations that she got the job.
And it was a boost to
And
her confidence, even just knowing that her mentor was behind her, giving her a suggestion and a little bit of a shoe in to what she wanted in life.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And don't we all need that at the end of
Yes.
the
That is so beautiful. Such great stories. I'm just overcome by the impact that this program is having. Every time I talk to you, I learn new things about the impact.
Thank you. And talking about impact, um, one of the biggest impacts is actually on the mentors. There is so much research run by Dean Linda Fried back when she was at Johns Hopkins, but I can go on and on about the research that when older adults engage in healthy social connection, in particular intergenerational connection, it halts and in certain cases reverses early cognitive decline. Dean Fried was able to prove this with fMRIs. So it's not just a qualitative measurement. And this is research that the listeners can find on the NIH website.
Okay.
So when older adults engage and help young people, or just listen to them and have fun and play games, they directly contribute to their own health. Profoundly so. Let me tell you, Gretchen, there's no longevity supplement that you can take out there that has a fraction of the benefits that meaningful social connections have. And in fact, there's the longest standing Harvard research, I think it's going in the 88th decade now, shows that the only marker of longevity is healthy social connection. It's not smoking. It's not education. It's not even cholesterol. If you have meaningful social connections and people who you love and love you and who look forward to seeing you, that is going to lead to healthy longevity.
It impacts your physical, your mental health, and your longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Those are
Yeah.
great statistics to share. And we can put a link in the show notes to that research that you mentioned. So we've been investigating and talking a lot about ageism in our culture and how that affects all of us, how it impacts young people, it impacts middle-aged people, and older adults especially are harmed by that. How do you think these intergenerational relationships impact our societal views about aging? Because I think you guys are changing the world all over the place. And I think these intergenerational relationships are going to have an impact on our society overall. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I completely agree on that. First, let's start with the problem. Ageism is a huge problem, and it's even more than being imposed on older adults.
Mm-hmm.
Our personal attitude around aging can affect our longevity by up to 9 years, 7 or 9 years.
Yes.
So if we're good about aging and we're optimistic about it, we're going to live on average 7 to 9 years longer. First of all, it's self-imposed. And that's something that we can work on and change right away
Right.
with technology. In fact, you and I talked a little bit about this. This is the next product that we're going to launch. You know, when an older adult signs up for Eldera, we ask them a series of questions. We ask them about their superpower, and we ask them to share with us about their life and their passions. And we learn so much about them, and we use that information in matching, which is why 94% of the people that we connect and talk once go on to talking weekly. Well, we realized we never showed them how special we think they are. So our new product invites every older adult over 60 who does not have a criminal background, we do criminal background
Mm-hmm.
check, to join Eldera as a member. And we're going to remind them, we created what we call a wisdom portrait that reminds them and society why they're so incredibly valuable and how they are contributing.
Okay, this sounds amazing. What is a wisdom portrait?
So a wisdom portrait takes all the information that you want to share about yourself in the Eldera sign up and summarizes it. And also you upload your photo and we show the impact that you're having. We show your superpower. We show your wisdom. We show how people can benefit from it and connect to you because of those things. And then you can choose to take baby steps. You can first connect with other older adults like you in the community. And then when you're ready, you can start helping a young person. And then the ultimate goal is the one-on-one weekly mentoring,
Mm-hmm.
like your daughter is doing, because that has the highest health benefits and life benefits for both. But step one is for older adults to stop feeling invisible. You know, as I mentioned at the beginning, I was raised by my grandparents, and I just love gravitating around older adults. And I am so heartbroken when they say that they feel invisible
Mm-hmm.
because they're brilliant
Right.
and they have incredible life experience
So much
and
to offer and share.
much to offer. And you know this from personal experience, but when kids join Eldera, they do not drop their mentors. Our churn is very low because the older adults are in very, very high demand at Eldera. Today, we have over 900 parents and kids in the wait list. And
Wow. Oh no. And a lot of your mentors have more than one child that they
yeah,
mentor, right? So you keep them
yeah,
busy too, and you still have a wait list.
we still have a
So
wait
we need
list.
more older adults to sign up.
We need older adults. We need them to realize that they are very, very needed.
Hmm.
And if you don't believe it, just sign up and we'll connect you with people who really need you and want to talk to you and want to hear from you. In fact, the funniest thing I'll say is that we've learned from older adults that if the mentor is even 5 minutes late on the Zoom, the kid is like, "Excuse me, I've been waiting. Where were you? I'm ready. I have so much to tell you." And it's so lovely.
Yes.
It's so lovely. So yeah, it's truly about building true human relationships, especially in this world that where we see chatbots and AI and social media
Hmm.
replacing a lot of those authentic conversations.
Right.
We just talk to someone who
Hmm.
is not perfect, who has lived through life, who has stories to tell, and who, we can learn from and they can learn from us. I cannot even tell you how many mentors read Harry Potter and know about K-pop and everything that's cool with kids, way more than me because I don't have kids.
Right, because they have to keep up with their mentees. So it's good for both of them.
I
They're
know.
learning new things from each other. And because of the way you match them, they already usually have some things in common that they can start a conversation from and some interests in common, which is also what wonderful thing about Eldera is that whole matching system. But yes, I know from experience when we miss a session, we're out of town, or the mentor's out of town, my daughter really misses that time. She looks forward to it. And during the week, she saves up ideas and things that she wants to talk to Miss Patty about. And she even texts with Miss Patty. And I feel safe about that because I know there's background checks in place. And it's like the one thing that she can do independently on social media that I don't worry about. If she wants to connect with Miss Patty, I have no worries about that at all. It's like the best way for her to engage in text messaging and social media is with Miss Patty. So that's another great thing about it. It's like that safe space and that parents can feel comfortable with that relationship.
That's exactly it. We set a goal and we will continue to outpace any standards in safety. So right now at Eldera, we not only background check all of the older adults, we also vet them on top of that. We train them
Mm,
and we record every conversation. So if
yeah.
there's any question, we can pull the recording. And as you know, we ask parents to be involved
Hmm.
and introduce themselves and get to know the mentor. So there are so many different things that we put into place to make sure that kids are safe, older adults are safe, and the entire community is safe and thriving.
That's a beautiful thing. Having a safe space. There's just nothing like it. So we need to get more older adults involved. We need to spread the word about this.
Yes, please.
What are your dreams for the future of this platform? Like, where do you want to go? There's so many things you can do.
Well, thank you for asking that. Eldera stands for the era of the elders. And as you mentioned at the beginning, we truly understand that older adults are the only untapped and growing natural resource on the planet.
Wow. What a great way to
It,
frame that.
thank you. And we're squandering it today. We have 1 billion people over 60 today. By the time I'm going to be in my 60s in 2050, we're going to have 2.1 billion. And we need an infrastructure that leverages this incredible lived experience and wisdom. And the first application we have for it is to help kids because we rely so much on young people.
Hmm.
Um, but that's just the first application. We believe that when older adults are supported by technology, they can truly solve some of the larger societal challenges. So we're starting with mental health and loneliness because frankly, there is no global solution to loneliness. And if you tell me that talking to a chatbot is going to make you less lonely, I'm going to really, really worry about you.
That's right. The chatbot is not where it's at. No.
It's not where it's at. Only human connection can make a human less lonely. And how wonderful that we have this incredible worldwide resource. So my goal is to initially get every kid and older adult in America on Eldera, supporting each other. Because when we do that, we lower the cost, we pretty much erase loneliness in older adults, and we lower the cost of mental health in kids and make both of their lives better.
We
So now
extend people's longevity. We save healthcare costs because we're improving health outcomes for both the kids and the adults, right?
Yeah, yeah. And how incredible and simplistic that one technology supporting one relationship can solve two of the largest current healthcare challenges on the planet, which is loneliness and mental health.
You're right. That is powerful.
Yeah, yeah. So I invite every older adult over 60. If you're younger than 60, you do not qualify yet. You need to gather more wisdom.
Keep
Sorry.
working on it.
Yes. But if you're over 60 and you don't have a criminal background, please join Eldera, join us as a member, check us out. And then when you're ready, hopefully you'll start impacting a kid's life, just like Patty's doing.
Great. I hope our listeners will take you up on that offer. So wonderful. This has just been a fabulous conversation. Thank you so much, Dana, for what you're doing and what you're creating and putting out into the world, and for your time today and sharing that with us on this podcast. It has been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be able to share Eldera with your listeners, and to be able to talk to you and learn from you about your experience and our friendship.
It's been great. Thank you, Dana. Before we wrap up today's episode, we wanted to take a moment to hear directly from the people who are at the heart of Eldera. These are the voices of two people who are experiencing the real-world impact of this platform. I'm about to have a casual conversation with my daughter, Margot, and her mentor, Patty, who have formed a strong bond through Eldera. So stick around as we dive into a special interview where they'll share their personal stories and insights with us.
Hey, that was perfect timing.
All right, good.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I did. It was fun.
Yeah, me too. I went to Vermont and it snowed.
You told me.
It's funny because I was looking at your questions, Brendan, and one of your questions was, what do we talk about? Well, we talk about everything, but we do talk about our families a lot.
Yeah.
We talk about
You too, FYI.
and it goes both ways. We talk about because our families are our world, basically.
Our root.
The people we live with, or in my case, they've grown up and left and built their own families. So that's we talk about that. We also talk about food a lot. We both are foodies.
Starbucks a lot too. And the Swift and the Barbie movie.
We talk about just about anything, don't we, Margot?
Yeah.
Just about anything. I mean, whatever was going on that day or something that happened that day, or we always end up laughing. I will never forget the first meeting when you were kind of like, I don't know how she'll do with you. And like 5 minutes in, she's like, see you, Mom.
Yeah, she wanted me to leave immediately. She's like, this is my friend. You can go.
You get me signed up, so let's go.
I actually have learned a great deal about Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Because of all the kids with disabilities that I'd worked with, I have never worked with one with Down syndrome. And I can remember when I first met you, you told me in the email, Gretchen, that she likes to talk about her diagnosis. So I purposely did not Google anything about Down syndrome because I wanted Margot to teach me. And
that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And she has.
Yeah.
And she's really shared so much about what it's like and the joys and the sorrows.
Mhm.
All the songs I always listen to.
Yeah. So I've learned a great deal about, and I still haven't Googled anything about Down syndrome.
Oh my gosh. To that day.
Which is, because I Google everything. So.
Okay.
But then you just end up with the stereotypes. And if you've met one person with Down syndrome, you've met one person with Down syndrome. They're all different. So this leaves you open to understanding it.
Yep, it really did. And
getting to
I'm
know
glad
her as a
that I
person.
was smart enough to wait for her to teach me.
That was
And
very smart.
I love it.
Do you remember the day that I came on with the can of whipped cream and you were like, what is wrong with this woman? I said to her, I had a can of whipped cream in my hand and I said, hi, Margot. And I just squirted whipped cream into my mouth. And I said, does that tell you what kind of a day I'm having?
Yeah, like, do we need a hug?
And she looked at me like, okay, girl, whatever you think.
Like, yeah, with me.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Always the best thing about Margot is I know there's emotional safety there. I know she's going to accept me no matter what, even when I'm being completely goofy with a can of whipped cream.
Yeah.
You know?
I've never let you live that down. I always tell you to turn day and night.
Yep. She is. I'm Team Margot and she's Team Patty.
Yep.
And I like that a lot. Yep.
Sorry.
She's a very loyal friend.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about?
Oh, I think she's very, very funny. She talks about her life all the time. I love those stories, and I think that's and how she's very positive all the time.
And I like
if
that.
If she's mad, she can be very nice.
No, we've never said a mean word to each other. I don't think we've ever had a crossword. I don't think, even though there's been a couple times we needed to have some serious talks, they worked out really well. I think it's because
we came through in the end, and we wanted to grow from our mistakes.
Yeah. I think it's because at the core we really care about each other
very deeply.
Yeah, very much so.
I was looking through my old emails for the link for this call today. And I went way back to the beginning and I realized that this month is your 3-year anniversary.
Oh my God. That's right. Oh my God.
That's right.
Because I was 15.
Wow, 3 years. Oh my God.
All the achievements I made through, with you helping me through them, I think that's amazing of our friendship.
It has been so wonderful to watch her grow and change these last 3 years. And I know that you don't think of teenagers as growing and changing. I'm talking more emotionally and maturity wise. I've seen such a difference in her. I mean, it's just been such a pleasure to watch. Yeah.
Can you think of a couple things that you've learned from Miss Patty? Specific things you've learned from her?
I learned to always look on the bright side of things.
Oh, because she's so positive, you said.
Yeah. And I learned that not everyone's gonna like me, which is okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah, like a lot of people do, a lot of people don't, and that's okay.
Have you learned anything from Margot?
Oh my gosh. Well, she reminded me what it's like to be a teenager and that it's not always easy.
Mom,
and brought back some of those feelings that I kind of had, I was like, oh, I remember feeling like that, feeling like awkward with people and like, oh, do I fit in? Those kinds of worries.
Yes.
I've learned, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to tell you how much I've learned from her. Such a wealth of understanding and friendship that I never expected to find in someone so young. To feel like I don't think I'm talking to an 18-year-old girl. I just think I'm talking to Margot and she's my friend. And the age, the age is there, but it doesn't hit me in the face. It's really about what's inside. You know, it's so funny because I've had people say, why would kids want to talk to an old person? And I'm like, I don't know. What, and friends are friends. Who cares what age?
Yeah. Because it's the difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you are who you are.
Yeah,
and I do try to accept everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I can refer who she is. It has my hair. It's just fine.
Yeah, exactly. And we're like that. She's like, she doesn't see my gray hair and wrinkles, and I don't see Down syndrome when I look at her. I just see Margot's eyes. I see Margot's eyes, and Margot's shining through those eyes, and the rest of it isn't there. It's just I see Margot.
Awesome.
She's a cool kid. She's a cool kid. You are a cool kid.
Thank you.
And Patty's a great mentor.
Yeah, all around.
Yes.
No, these have been really, and there was a day last spring that she really was far more aware of, tuned into me more than I ever realized she was. And it was when my husband was going through some heart testing and things, and I was worried, but I didn't say anything to her. We got on that day, and we were talking. I thought we were just being normal, and she just stops and she goes, "Are you okay?" Yeah, that's what she said to me. She says, "Are you okay?" She said, she literally said, "Are you worried about your husband? Would you like to talk about it?"
Yeah.
And I just thought I literally almost started to cry right there. And I was like, you know what? I really would like to, because it's kind of worrying me. And she just listened to the boring stuff about tests and that kind of stuff. But it felt so nice to talk about it, because we really weren't telling our families or our kids yet, because we wanted to wait till we had all the results. So it was so nice to go, I can tell Margot. And I really appreciated that so much, for you to notice that I wasn't being myself.
Yeah, I mean, I always say tell me everything to my friends when they're upset, and I think telling you that also made me cry too, because I'm like, I feel that he's hiding something. I want to know what's going on.
What my mother would call grown-up things, that she's never had.
My mother too.
Of being an older person, and you start thinking about medical stuff, and it was just so nice of her, because I was worried, and I guess maybe she just picked up that she was definitely tuned in.
It has been so nice to get to know you and to know that Margot has someone in her life that I totally trust for her to come and talk to. That's the other great thing. The way the match system works and the safety and everything in Eldera really helps.
And I tell her, and I tell all my Eldera kids, that everything we say, I don't repeat to anybody. I unless I feel that there's a danger of some kind, or there's something that really needs to be addressed. Other than that, everything we say is between us.
And you like having that private place where you can have conversations and
where you can say stuff that you don't want anybody else to hear. And Eldera did a lot, and I think I've told Margot this before, but during the pandemic with my chronic health issues, I became so isolated. And Eldera really, and Margot, and looking forward to talking to her every week, and then getting more and more involved in Eldera with the social things. It's really helped a lot. And I am now getting out more and more, which feels good. But there was a period of time where I was quite isolated. And Eldera, I mean, I literally feel like it saved me. And Margot, you helped me have a sense of purpose again.
Wow. Okay.
But to reconnect with kids was wonderful. It was good to talk with you, Gretchen. Thank you for this.
You too. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, believe me.
Thank you for listening to The Age Guide, Perspectives on the Aging Journey. Age Guide coordinates and administers many services for older adults in Northeastern Illinois. Our specially trained professionals are available to answer questions and connect you with local service providers and resources. If you are interested in these services or want to learn more, go to our website at ageguide.org or call our offices at 630-293-5990. Please follow our podcast so you can be notified in your streaming account. Thank you, and we will see you next time on the Age Guide podcast.